The Cocker Spaniel is one of these dogs that has a real big heart. It'll try and do whatever you want it to do, but there's size limitations on this dog. There is. That's just how it is. Like if you want the dog, if I was going to train Juppy here, sit. If I was going to train him to open up a refrigerator, you have to use like a longer pull rope. You might have to take duct tape and put it on the magnet inside the door to make it less. Do you understand? He's a small dog. So the same is true of teaching Juppy to put stuff in a bin. Now, do you understand what I'm saying? Like his mouth is only so high, so if he's standing up and he's trying to put something in the bin, there's only two options. It has to be the correct size. That's why we're using these platforms to get him up high enough, or the bin can be cut down. There isn't any choice, because like if we had a wagon, say we had a wagon, and Micah and Mila, the Cocker Spaniels, were taught to put stuff in the wagon has a certain weight where they could go up on the edge of the wagon, okay, and drop it in. Juppy could learn to do that. But with doing something like this, we don't have that option because it's light. Do you see what I'm saying? And he's going to tip the thing over, and it's going to make him barn sour and afraid. So the only option we have is to either use some kind of platform or cut the bins down. So in other words, if a trash can was used as a recycling bin and it was this high, Juppy's not going to be able to put the bottle in the trash can. There's just no way. There's physical limitations with some dogs. So you have to understand this, and I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. Like, all dogs are sort of different, and when you're working with a smaller dog like this, you have to do things to sort of help them and make it so that it's physically possible to even do. When Micah and Mila were taught to do the light switch, what I had done is I measured from the tip of the mouth of the dog sitting, right, down to the floor. So I knew right where the light switch should be placed. Now, when Micah and Mila went back to Taiwan, the people that installed the light switches, the workers put it about 3 or 4 inches lower, which made it totally more difficult because that wasn't like right at mouth level. So the owner had to retrain Micah and Mila to do the light switch. Or she had the option of having the workers come and just bring the light switch up to the proper height. But there's not much you can do when you're talking about the size of the dog. Juppy isn't going to get taller. He isn't going to get more weight. For Ike, my lab, to come out here and do this, it's not a problem. His head is way up here. He can just walk over here and drop it in. You can train the small dog to, like a Cocker Spaniel, you can train a small dog to do something that a big dog does, but you really have to take into consideration the size of the dog. That's the only thing that holds the Cocker Spaniel back. Charlie, the English Cocker Spaniel, is being trained to waterfowl hunt. I'm not shitting you. I think he's training him to do upland game and waterfowl hunt. Just totally feasible. It is, it's totally feasible. But what wouldn't be feasible is to take Charlie the Cocker Spaniel out waterfowl hunting, shoot a goose, and send him on the retrieve. Some of the larger Canada goose, they weigh 20, 24 pounds. That's more than the dog weighs. Now, would Charlie try and drag the goose back? Yes, he would. If he was in the water, he could probably grab it by the neck and probably swim it back, but this is a big but. If the Canada goose wasn't shot, and it wasn't a real good shot, and the Canada goose was alive, Charlie, the little English Cocker Spaniel, is going to have a hard problem dealing with that goose. They're mean. So it's one thing to send the 85-pound Labrador to go get a goose that size, but it's unrealistic to even send Charlie on that retrieve because he won't be successful probably. So Charlie the Cocker Spaniel would be appropriate for teal, wood ducks. Maybe he can do a mallard. Maybe. He could probably do a mallard. It's a Cocker Spaniel. They're gonna fucking try. So just understand that's why these are even here right now. Now, like I said, I have the option. I'm thinking about taking these bins and taking a grinder and cutting them down lower. You know, taking off about 4 inches so that Jupy can drop it in. The other thing that I'd like to say is even with these small platforms, which these are duct tape, right? If his mother decides that she wants to use the platforms, then you know she could certainly make something like this. A very creative family. Her sister is a designer. You know, both sisters design, and his mom is extremely creative. She's just in the business world. She could take something like that and take it to a place and have upholstery put on it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like essentially, it's kind of a hard pillow. That's all it is. So that could be done with something like this. Or like I said, I could just cut this down like this high. But even with the platform, if Jupy is holding, say, the bottle, and he's holding it improper, like if he's holding it like this or like this, he still can't get it because it's bumping the side of the crate. So it's very important that Jupy is holding it proper. And we're going on this with Jupy, but you know, it takes time for the dog to learn. So he needs to hold it like this, even with this, to be able to drop it in. I just want everybody to know that I'm a big fan of the Cocker Spaniels. They're awesome, but they are a very small dog. They're smaller than the Springer. And you have size limitations with the dogs. Now, while I'm talking, I just wanted to say that we are going to start casting Jupy and using this as the bin for paper, right? And this will be plastic. Now, will the dog ever be able to distinguish between like paper and plastic? I think it's sort of unrealistic. But with that said, if this side is if it's always set up so that this side is paper, right, and this side is plastic, over time and conditioning, he might just start, you know, instinctually, that's a conditioned response, just start taking paper to this bin and plastic always to this bin. But it really doesn't matter, and I'll tell you why. Is because you'll be the owner, or if you train your dog to do this, you're interacting with the dog and you're casting the dog and you're saying, go to that one or go to this one. Will he get it? At some point, he'll probably pick it up. But I don't think he's ever really going to be able to distinguish between the paper towel roll and a bottle. I mean, you could probably teach him that this is a paper towel, but he's never going to be able to distinguish between this and like an envelope. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're good for what they are. Like you can train a dog. Like there's dogs that can know the words for 1,000 different objects, but there isn't 2 words for each object. I know this sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it does. Listen. So say you have a plush toy, and the plush toy is a turkey, okay? The dog will never be able to distinguish between the plush toy that it learned that is a turkey. You say, go get the turkey, it gets the turkey, and the actual bird that is a turkey. They don't have language. There is no language. They're listening. It's tone. It's all tone with the dog. So we're going to start having them drop some paper products in this. And for that, we're going to be using a paper towel roll. And we're also using these, which are wood. But wood, what is wood? What is paper? It's made out of wood. So we'll be using these just because Jupy's comfortable with this. It'll make it easy. And then we'll start bringing in envelopes and stuff like that. We want to build on success. This guy's doing great, and we have enough time left where he should be doing this much, much better by the time that his mom comes home. I think we got 10 days or something. So that's it. Let's see if Jupy will, if I can cast Jupy using the paper towel. We'll take it in there. This one is easier for Jupy to drop it into than this one, and the reason is because it's more of a direct path. On this one, he has to cross over in front of me. It's a longer distance. That's just how it is, you know. Just the slightest difference for a dog will make it more difficult. So we're going to keep this one being plastic and aluminum because we've been doing that longer, and you know, this one will be the harder one because it'll be harder objects for him. And also, one thing that I want to say is, like, I'm not using a lot of newsprint or anything right now. I am using wood, and that's because it's not real hot in here, but it's not real cold either, and the paper tends to dry out the dog's mouth. It'll even, like with some objects, it sort of sticks to the roof of the mouth of the dog. So we're staying away from newsprint and stuff like that. We're going to stick with the harder stuff. We want to build on success. Let's see if Jupe will do it. Jupe, here. Jupe, heel. Come on, buddy, heel. Jupe, hold. No, hold. Hold. Okay, drop it in there. Drop. Yeah, you did it. He didn't know what. See, he's not used to it, but he'll get it. Let's see if we'll do the wood. Come here. I have a sock in that, by the way, a wool sock, and the reason why I did that was just so that it'll last longer. Just make it sort of like more something to grab onto. Okay, hold. No. Hold. Hold. Okay, put it in there. Drop. No. Okay, don't. Anytime you do something new, it's hard. Jupe, get it, heel. Come here. Here. Come on, buddy. Okay, bring it up here. Okay, drop. Okay, good. Here, come here, buddy. So, see, he's having a little bit of difficulty because it's new. Anytime it's new, we're going to sort of backtrack with Jupe, and I'm going to walk directly up there and point to it and get him close and get some success. And when he starts getting success, you know, then we'll be home free. Then we'll start interjecting stuff that's harder for him to do. Envelopes, stuff like that. The Pringles can. Okay, Jupe. Here, hold. Hold. Good boy. Put it in there. Drop. Yes, good boy. Here, do this one, buddy. Come on. Go pick it up quick. You will. It's Jupe. Okay, sit. Okay, Jupe, hold. Hold. You got it? Okay, put it in there. Drop. You got it, brother. Want to try an envelope? You do? Okay, hang on. We'll do an envelope. Come here, buddy. Now, he knows this because he's carried my mail before. He might carry his mom's mail. I'm not sure, but he's definitely carried mine. So, Jupe, hold. You got it? Hold. Okay, put it in there. Drop. Yes! Good boy. Just take your time when you're teaching them to do something, and you're doing it. You think as a human like it's no different than like the bottles or whatever it is. It's totally different. We've been using the bottles for days. We've been using the plastic bottles, and now we're using different material. Just the slightest difference will make it harder for the dog. Like Jupe can pick up my keys, right? So he'll pick up my keys, but if a new set was brought in, I would have to go back and backtrack and have Jupe hold, right? I just directly put it in his mouth. Hold, say hold. No. Hold. No. It's been a while. Hold. Hold. Good boy. Hold. Drop. Good boy. Do it again. Hold. Hold. Good boy. Drop. And I would do that a bunch of times before I even threw it. Now it's been a while. Let's see if we'll do it. Jupe, hold. Drop. Good boy. See if we'll take my keys and put them in there. Jupe, here. Come here, heel. Here, we'll do the retrieve and then I'll ask him to dump it in there. Okay, Jupe, hold. Okay, bring it, put it in there. Drop. Good boy, it was on the edge, but he did it. It got stuck up on the edge. See, that's a problem. It's the height of the dog. That's the only problem that you have with the Cocker Spaniel. So when he's trying to drop it in here, Chippy, come over here. Heel. When he's trying to drop it in here, it got like that. It got stuck because he's just not tall enough to do it. That's how it is. So, you know, we have to make a decision before he goes home. Do I cut these down? Because his mom should train him on, you know, very similarly, she should use, you know, the similar height and everything, or do we use the platforms? It's a consideration that I have to think of as a dog trainer because there's size issues with the Cocker Spaniel for sure. He's not a tall dog. He isn't. He's not, you know, they just, the Cocker Spaniel will try. That's the deal that's so awesome with the Cocker Spaniel. It's like if you train them to do something that's even difficult, they're going to try. It's awesome. I love them. I love them.